You're listening to Psych to Parent, where we turn brain science into tiny wins at home. I'm Dr. Amy, your not-so-typical school psychologist, mom of two, and endurance athlete. I love a good data set and a diagnostic manual. But I also forget permission slips, overthink IEP emails, and occasionally replay the moment I snapped at my kids in the car. In other words, I'm in the messy middle with you, not above it. This show is for parents of big feeling, big thinking kids who are tired of vague advice and Pinterest perfect behavior charts. Each episode, I'll pull back the curtain on what I see in real evaluations, school meetings, my private practice, and my own kitchen, and translate the research into simple scripts, tiny routines, and nervous system friendly tweaks you can actually use. Think of it as a nervous system rehab meets mindset coaching meets a smart, slightly spicy, non-judgy friend in your earbuds. We'll take one real life challenge at a time and shrink it down into 1 or 2 tiny wins you can start this week. No perfection, no 47-step sticker systems, just small, repeatable shifts that add up over time. Quick legal-ish note in plain English. This podcast is for education and support. It's not therapy, it does not create a clinical relationship, and it's not a substitute for personalized medical or mental health advice. If you're worried about your child's safety or mental health, or your own, please reach out to a trusted professional. Okay, deep breath, drop your shoulders. You're not behind and you're not alone. Let's get psyched to parent. Picture this. You're in a long line. It's loud in that specific airport kind of way. The announcements echo. Someone's suitcase is doing that thunk, thunk, thunk over the tile. One kid suddenly discovers a hoodie tag and it becomes an emergency. Your other kid is asking the same question on a loop. Can I get a snack? Can I get a snack? Can I get a snack? And you're thinking, please, can we just get through security first? And you can feel it in your body. Your jaw gets tight, your shoulders inch up towards your ears, and your brain just feels really loud and fast. And all you can think, especially this is how I think, where can I duck into a kiosk for like 10 seconds and hide? And I want to sip on my Cherry Coke Zero so my nervous system can come back and re-enter my body so I can be a calm, present adult. If you've been there, I want you to hear this. You're not doing it wrong. Travel's not a normal day. Travel is a whole different beast. And today, I'm going to give you a plan for the beast. Hey, it's Dr. Amy, school psychologist, parent coach, and mom of two big-hearted, big-brained, big-feeling kiddos. This episode is for parents of big-feeling, big-hearted, big-brain kiddos, especially kids who are in elementary school. These are capable kids. Smart kids, funny kids, and also kids who can fall apart when the day is long and the environment feels intense. In this episode, I'm going to help you do 3 things. First, build a travel plan that protects your kid's nervous system and your nervous system. Next, we're going to use screens on purpose without the power struggle spiral. And then finally, I want to talk about how we can handle sibling spice when everyone is feeling hot, hungry, cramped, and just done. And I want to give you a repeatable line that you can use as your travel rhythm this summer. Here it is. Move, meet, mellow, then screens. That is the order of operations. That is the plan you make while your good parent brain is still online. Now, before we get into tools, we have to name the thing that parents are usually afraid to say out loud. Some of you are listening because you're about to travel and you might be feeling scared. Now, it's not because of the trip. It's of the meltdown that you know will inevitably happen with your own kids. And you might be thinking, what if we ruin the trip? What if my kid melts down in public? What if we are trapped in a seat for hours with a dysregulated kid? What if my kids fight nonstop? What if I snap as a parent because I'm depleted and I still have to lead and set an example? If that's you, my friend, you're not dramatic. Travel is hard for real reasons. And it's simple because when we travel, the routines disappear. The sensory load goes up. Waiting is a constant piece of travel. Hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. Bodies are close physically, whether it's in a car or seats on an airplane, which seem to just be getting smaller. Food is weird, maybe sleep is weird. And adults are doing logistics while helping co-regulate their children. Also, here's a quick reality check. Travel is a privilege. Not everyone can. And also, privileged things can be exhausting. There's a difference between being grateful and being regulated. Now let's put the shame down and talk about what your kid's brain and body are actually doing on a travel day. Let's talk about the brain science and the why behind the behavior. Now, travel's not one event. It is a chain of transitions. Kids are typically being asked to do these things. Wake up, pack, get in the car, park the car, stand in a line, go through security, go to the gate, board a plane, seatbelt on, take off, cruising. There's bathroom logistics, the food logistics, descent, get our baggage, get in a new rental car, new bed. And transitions cost nervous system energy. So when your child melts down on a travel day, it's often not about attitude. It's about capacity. Your child's body is saying, this is too loud, too close, too hot, too hungry, too tired, too many transitions. And when bodies are flooded, thinking brains go, flexibility goes offline, language goes offline. The same thing happens for adults. So yes, travel can feel like safari parenting. You're scanning the horizon for the next animal attack, not a lion, a meltdown. And the animal is not your child. The animal is overload. So we don't aim for perfect behavior. We aim for capacity. Say this with me. Move, meet, mellow, then screens. We default to that rhythm before we default to screens. Let me put on my school psych hat, because this is exactly where the system lens helps parents feel less powerless. Here's your school psych in your back pocket takeaway, especially when it comes to traveling. We do not reduce behavior by demanding more self-control of our children in a harder environment. We reduce behavior by reducing the load and increasing support for our kids. In school, when a kid struggles with transitions, we don't say, try harder, be better, stop being dramatic. We do things like this in schools. We preview the transition. We structure the steps. We plan breaks and explain them to our kids before they actually happen. We use sensory supports. We keep expectations simple. Travel with kids is basically school on expert mode, because there's more transitions, more sensory input, less predictability, and there's higher stakes. So the intervention is the same category: proactive supports, planned breaks, predictable scripts, fewer decisions when everyone is tired and feeling drained. And here's a developmental truth that matters for elementary school age kids. They can hold it together for a while, and then they crash. That crash, y'all, it is not manipulation. That's a nervous system that ran out of fuel. So the win is not no meltdowns ever. The win is noticing earlier and supporting earlier. Okay, let me translate this into parent language in 1 minute so you can use it today. Here are 2 tools that I often see used in schools, and I've used as both a teacher and as a school psychologist, but let me explain them in parent-friendly words so you can use them too. Tool number 1 is called previewing. This is where we tell kids what they can expect, and they know it before they need it. So it's things like we can say things like this to our kids. Here's what's next. Here's what might change. That's a big one for travel, because sometimes we can't predict whether or not the flight's going to be delayed or there's going to be some sort of mechanical issue, right? So another thing you can say is, if it changes, we'll get information and make a new plan. That's previewing. It's preparing your kids' brains so it doesn't feel murky and hard to follow. Tool number 2 is break language. In schools, we say things like, take a break. At home, it might be something where we say a reset button. In our house, it's also time for mellow. One of my favorite things about break language that I love, I don't know who gave it to us in our family, but for the Christmas holidays, we got a red button, and it's basically, it's like the Staples or whatever office supply company had commercials a few years ago. Where's the red button and you hit it and go, that was easy. Well, in our house over Christmas, someone brought it. I wish I could tell you who, because I have no idea. It just magically showed up on my kitchen counter in February, and it's just lived there now. But it is a 30-second Christmas dance party remix. And so sometimes when we just need to take a break or have a reset in our house, so someone, whether it's me, my partner, my kids, will go over and hit the button, and it's literally a 30-second dance break. It's really funny. It's comical. I'm probably gonna have to do something on my Instagram, doing a dance or a TikTok to this, or a reel or whatever, because we will literally hit it. It goes 30-second dance party, and it kind of gets you out of the lane you're driving in with your brain. It forces you to stop, like you're stopping at an intersection, and you take a minute to pause, breathe, and then you move on to the next thing. And that's so helpful, because sometimes we just need to hit a reset button, or need to take a pause or a break. And when we use language like this, it actually teaches our kids how to say, I need space, I need a break. And for us as adults to model it, it's so cool. It's so powerful. So here's a cool thing. When we use previewing plus the breaks with our kids, it tells our kids' nervous system, you're not trapped. You're safe. We have a plan. Now let's talk about what this actually looks like in real life when you're traveling with your kids. When everyone's feeling tired and depleted and you pack snacks and nobody wants to eat the snacks, even though they actually pick them out at the grocery store and they're like, quote, their favorite snacks, but they don't want them today. It's super fun. I love that. Maybe you're like me and you have like a box of pirate booty that's just sitting in your kitchen. Like, you love this. Now you don't want to eat it. Why? Why did I buy this Costco size box of pirate's booty? But anyway, super fun. I love my kids. I want to give you a plan that works in real life. It's not a perfect plan, but it's a usable one. Here's the rhythm that held up for us when we were traveling. Move, meet, mellow, then screens. Now, this is not a rigid schedule. It's a nervous system order of operations. Move is first. Movement is regulation. It can be big movement or tiny movement. It can be things like walking to the terminal, taking the stairs instead of the escalator, toe taps, stretching, wall pushes, a quick toss of a ball in a quiet corner. And if you have a long travel delay, here's the sentence I want you to remember. A tired body helps a tired brain. You're not exhausting your kids for fun, you're supporting regulation. The second is meet. Meeting is all about connection. This doesn't have to be some sort of social event. It can be things like saying hello to a grandparent. Maybe it's playing a card game together. Maybe it's a short chat, a shared snack. Maybe it's a same team hand squeeze, fist bump, secret society hand thing. Connection helps with regulation, even when kids act like they don't need it. Honestly, when I see kids that are dysregulated, this happened over the weekend with my kids when we were traveling back from Africa and we were having some big emotions. Sometimes just sitting with one of my kids who might be having a hard time and just being physically there and letting them borrow the calm coming off of my body helped my kid take a minute, take a breath, and just be able to verbalize to me, Mom, big sigh, like, Mom, I'm just really tired and I need something to eat. That is huge, my friends. And it is such a powerful thing to see when our kids are able to borrow our calm when we co-regulate and they don't lose their mind on us. Okay, number 3 is mellow. Now, mellow is planned downtime after being busy. It's not a punishment, it's a downshift. It's kind of like when you're driving a manual car and you're like shifting the gears, we're shifting down. And mellow can be things like reading on a Kindle, listening to an audiobook. Maybe it's putting on headphones and listening to music, drawing. Maybe it's just resting and closing your eyes. Or if you're like me as a grown-up, maybe you're my person, you're one of my people. I will sometimes just take my hoodie and put my hoodie over my head and just like pretend I'm in a cave. And it's delightful. And here's the key with mellow. This is explained before you need it. All of these are explained before you need it. Move, meet, mellow. We explain it to kids so they know. So when you say mellow time, it doesn't feel like a rejection. It feels like the plan. And here's the really cool thing when you say move, meet, mellow with your kids. If you teach these things before you need them and you give them the language of this is move, this is meet, this is mellow, your kids will tell you what they need. When we were on our trip, we just got back from our vacation to Africa when we were on safari. I loved it because we go out on these amazing safari game drives that were 3, 4, one day it was like 5 hours in a safari track. My kids were amazing. Like, I could not believe how well behaved they were. And my kids are 8 and 11. They were wonderful. They were kind, respectful. They listened, followed directions because you're out in the wild with like leopards and elephants and giraffes. And you're like, oh my gosh. And they were wonderful. And we came back from one of our game drives, especially one of the longer ones. And my kids looked at me and go, I just need to eat and run around. I was like, great, go eat. We're going to order lunch and then we'll find something for you to do. And my kids' favorite thing to do when we were in safari at one of our lodges is they have, it's like monkey minding, I guess is what I call it. I don't know what else to call it. But being a monkey minder, there was actually a person at our safari who would walk around where the restaurant was. It's all open air outside. And they walked around with a slingshot. There was nothing in the slingshot. No animals were hurt. But their job was just to kind of keep the monkeys away from guests who were eating their meals. And just by nature of where we were staying on this leg of our trip, there weren't a lot of other kids. And so the staff that worked at this lodge really enjoyed having kids around. And so my kids Their favorite thing to do was to either walk around with a slingshot with nothing in it, or there was like the monkey minding stick, and they would like to walk around with these staff members and like try and chase the monkeys away. That was a great way of using movement. I was grateful because it also gave me, my partner, and my parents who we were traveling with a chance to just kind of breathe, and everybody was happy. And there were no screens. Because I'm going to say this, I'm totally going off script. I don't even know who listens to these. And so, like, if you're listening to this episode and when it comes out, probably around sometime in June, I'd love to get a DM being like, I listened to your episode and I actually heard your rant. I would be like, oh, you're my person. But I think the thing that's really important, and this is a super hot take for me, is that if our default move as a parent is just to hand over a screen, our phones, our tablets, iPads, whatever, that's what our kids expect. And that's why I think this notion of move, meet, mellow, then screens is so important, because we're giving kids containers that they can understand, and there's some predictability. So as I was saying, like after my kids did long game drive, lunch, monkey minding, and we go back to our room for a few hours to relax, for them to be able to say to me, we're really tired. It's like, yes, of course you can use a screen. And really my screen access was, there were no screens because there were no TVs in our lodge. So, but they were able to use either my phone or my partner's phone to watch a movie for 30 or 45 minutes just to kind of mellow. Or alternatively, what we would do for screens is we would lay in a bed together. It's like all together and get super cozy. And we would all be reading on our Kindles together, which was really fun. So let's see if anybody actually responds to this. Totally off script, not what I'm supposed to be talking about on the podcast today, but here I am talking about it. It's super fun. But let's get back to it. The final piece is screens, where we then give over screens. So we have move, meet, mellow, then screens. And then screens. Here's your permission slip. If you need screens to survive the travel day, that is allowed. Travel, it's a whole different beast. I joke that it's like we're on safari. We are scanning the horizon for the next animal attack. And by animal attack, I mean this with our kids. We're scanning for hunger, heat, cramped bodies, and a meltdown stalking us from the tall grass. So screens can be the sturdy Jeep. They're not forever, but in the rough stretch. The key is using screens intentionally and predictably. You decide the plan while your good parent brain is online, and then you share the plan with your kids. Have your kids tell it back to you. Okay, now I want to name what behavior is often communicating on travel days, especially when siblings start getting spicy. When kids melt down on travel days, the behavior is often saying this: my body is overwhelmed. I need predictability. I need food or water. I need space. I need a downshift. I need you to lead because I can't do it myself. And when siblings are snapping at each other, it's often not a moral issue. It's often they're hot, they're hungry, they're cramped, they're tired, and they're trying to elicit a response or reaction. Like they're trying to get some feedback from somebody else. Fairness becomes the story because it feels concrete. But fairness meetings require regulation. So one of the most powerful travel lines is this: we are not solving fairness right now. Not because fairness doesn't matter, because nobody can problem solve when their body is screaming. Reset first, then regroup. Which brings us to scripts. The goal here is fewer words and more structure. Now, here are some parenting scripts that you can borrow from me and that you can actually say when you're tired. Script number 1, a preview ritual. Here's what's next. Here's what might change. If it changes, we'll get information and make a new plan. Script number 2, sibling spice interrupt. I see spicy. It looks like people's bodies are feeling hot, hungry, and tired. We're not solving fairness right now. Let's hit the reset button. Script number 3 for reset button. Hey team, we're pressing the reset button. Let's take 2 minutes. No talking unless it's a safety issue. Then we regroup. An adult can use it too. You can say to your kids, my brain is getting loud. I'm pressing reset so I can be kind. I'll be right back. And parents, my friends, it feels so good to be able to say, my brain's getting loud, I need a break, or I need a reset to our kids. That feels a lot better than when you find yourself snapping and maybe you yell or scream or say something you don't mean, because that shamey stuff sucks. And the cool piece is when we do it as adults, say, hey, I need a break, We are modeling behavior. We are teaching our kids skills. It's so cool. You as parents are the best teachers for your children, and they are watching and listening and observing what we do. Okay. Script number 4 is for when we want to have screens with a boundary. We can say stuff like, if you need screens to survive today, that's allowed. Screens start at this time and screens end at this time. When screens end, you can choose to mellow. Maybe it's read your Kindle, color a picture, play a card game. You have to pick what you're going to do. Okay, tiny wins. Small moves because nobody needs a 28-step travel plan. Remember, pick one is enough. Tiny win number 1, write the rhythm on a sticky note. Move, meet, mellow, then screens. Tiny win number 2, decide one screen boundary while your good parent brain is online. It can be when screens start and when they end, and what your kids can choose to do next. Tiny win number 3, define mellow in one sentence and explain it before your next outing. You might say something like, mellow is quiet downshift time so our brains can come back online. Tiny win number 4, practice your fairness line once out loud while you're calm. We're not solving fairness right now, then offer a snack or a chance to mellow. Tiny win number 5, choose one tiny movement option you can do anywhere. A hallway walk, toe taps, wall push-ups, a quick ball toss. Friends, on our 2-week trip, I purposely packed a mini soccer ball and football that went all over with us, and we would pull it out and play games with it whenever my kids needed to move. It was wonderful. It's such a lifesaver. Highly recommend traveling with something like that. Okay, before we go, I have a few quick favors to ask. There's no pressure, just the kind that keep the show going and help other parents find it. Okay, here are my favors. Favor number 1, grab the Volcano Moments Guide. This is for the moment you can feel it building and you want to plan before the eruption happens with your kids. It's linked in the show notes. Favor number 2, watch the replay of Summer Without the Spiral workshop. If you're trying to build a calmer summer rhythm and you want support, grab the replay. It's linked in the show notes. Favor number 3, please consider donating to my fundraiser for the Kyle Peace Foundation. If you found this episode helpful and you're in a place where you can support something beyond your own family right now, consider donating to KPF. I'm asking because their mission is close to my heart. I want more kids to have access to support, connection, and care. There's no guilt, no pressure. If it fits, amazing. If not, just being here matters. It's linked in the show notes. Favor number 4, share this episode with a friend. The friend who has a big trip coming up and is quietly terrified of the airport. Favor number 5, leave a review wherever you listen. It helps other parents find the show when they are in the thick of it with their own kids. Final favor, follow along on Instagram. If you want to see the hot mess express version of me outside office hours, come find me. It's a lot of me wrangling lacrosse gear, hoping everyone will eat what I made for dinner before practice, and trying to remember my own advice in real time, while secretly sometimes hiding in the laundry room, drinking a Coke Zero, and eating a hidden Girl Scout cookie because I need a minute. All right, let's land this, because I want you to walk into your next travel day with less dread and more structure. You don't need a perfect itinerary to have a good trip. You need an anchor. You need a plan for the echoey gate, the hoodie tag emergency, the sibling spice, the hunger, the heat, the cramped bodies, the moment your jaw tightens and you start fantasizing about a kiosk and a cherry Coke Zero and 10 seconds of silence. And here's the reframe. Your child is not giving you a hard time. Their body is having a hard time. So we default to the rhythm before we default to screens. Move, meet, mellow, then screens. Press the reset button early. Lower demands when bodies are overloaded. And when fairness suddenly becomes a courtroom case, remember, problem solving comes after everyone is regulated. And the next time you sit at that tiny round table in that tiny chair, remember, schools have expertise, and you, my friend, are the expert on your child. Your insight is not extra, it's essential. You're not behind, you're building a partnership, and you're building skills, yours and theirs, one small, doable step at a time. Until next time, my friends. Thank you for hanging out with me on Psych to Parent. I'm Dr. Amy, your not so typical school psychologist, and I'm genuinely glad you're here doing this work instead of quietly white knuckling it and blaming yourself. Your tiny win from today's episode is simple. Do not overhaul your entire parenting style. Pick one idea, one sentence, or one tiny shift and try it in a low-stakes moment this week. Then notice what changes, even if it is just by 1%. If you want more support, head over to psych2parent.com. You'll find show notes, simple scripts, and parent-friendly guides that go with these episodes. While you're there, make sure you join the Tiny Wins mailing list so you get weekly brain-based tips, real-life examples from my work with families, and first dibs on new workshops and resources. It's the easiest way for us to stay connected beyond the podcast. If this podcast was helpful, it really does matter when you tap follow or subscribe. Leave a quick review or text it to a friend who is parenting a big-feeling, big-hearted kid too. This podcast is for education and encouragement. It is not therapy, and it's not a substitute for individualized care. If you're worried about your child or yourself, please reach out to a trusted professional in your area. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are building something new, one tiny win at a time. I'll see you in the next episode, probably with a cold coffee in hand, cheering you on.